So recently, ArchieSonicOnline.com released the 50th issue of Sonic Universe. Now, prior to this, they had released the 51st issue of Sonic Universe, which basically takes place, within the Mecha Sally arc, or somewhere on the basically around the Mecha Sally arc, and it follows basically the adventures of Bunny, from being in the Dark Egg Legion. Long story short, in case you guys don't know, after Bunny was surprisingly de-roboticized by Naugus because he was trying to prove his worth to the people as their king, by decrystallizing Bunny, who had been affected by crystals thanks to a miscalculation or a mishap by Naugus trying to protect the city or whatever the case was. And after he decrystallized her, he also had de-roboticized her. Now she was flesh and blood again. But then, long story short, after Antron ended up into a coma, thanks to an attack by Mecha Sally and Metal Sonic and all them, basically she felt very powerless. And she decided that the only way she was going to make up for this is to get her cybernetics back. And she basically decided to go to her uncle Beauregard, who we met in issues 217 and 18, to get those cybernetics back on her, to make herself feel like herself again. And we kind of got a hint at that at the end of the Mighty and Ray Sonic Universe story arc that they did, when we saw a silhouette of Bunny in the background and kind of give us an idea of what she was going to look like with her now that she basically, apparently by that silhouette, had already been cybernetically enhanced again, basically given back the robotic limbs that she was taken away from her. So it does follow that story and everything. And like I said, they basically released the first part of it, I believe, last year. Yeah, they released the first part of that Sonic Universe deal last year in what was it? What did it say? It said April, I think. Yeah, it said April 28th. They released it last year, and they're still working on issue 52. That is yet to be released, but that is coming soon. We do have a cover to it and everything, but they are working on it, as well as they're working on the third one as well. The thing about these stories, essentially, or these fan continuations of these stories, is that they do take a while, because they have to basically go back and forth with a lot of fellow fans on the scripts and the artwork and stuff like that before they release them. So this is why basically Sonic Universe issue 50, which was supposed to be the first one before 51, was released just recently, over this past week, mainly due to the fact that they had to basically work with certain people on what the script was going to be like, as well as taking a page out of Archie Sonic. They did some interviews after the story with some of the writers, and one of the people they actually got to interview was Ian Flynn. And by talking to him and everything, they got an idea, kind of a gist of what Ian wanted to do with Sonic Underground in issue 50, because the original idea with Sonic Universe, when it came to issue 50, was to essentially close up the whole Sonic Underground story. So they basically took some of the ideas that he wanted to come up with when it came to Sonic Underground that he was going to put into the book, and they decided to run with it, and basically, as fans, basically close up that chapter of Sonic Underground, in their own way. Basically, take some of his ideas and mix it in with what they felt, they believed suited the conclusion of the original story arc for Sonic Underground most accurately, if you will. I mean, in the interview, Ian had basically said that not much, Sonic Underground wise, aesthetic wise, was going to change. And there were some, like I said, there were some ideas he just that he was going to do, like bringing friends and everything they had counted in the series together for this big finale. And what the fans, like I said, what the fans did is they decided to basically take all those ideas that he was going to come up with, and then combine them with the ideas they had come up with, and we ended up getting issue 50 of Sonic Universe on Archie Sonic Online, ASO's interpretation of Sonic Universe's 50th issue, which originally in the official run was going to be based around Sonic Underground, but because of what happened, that didn't occur. However, again, this is where the fans come into play and basically say, okay, you couldn't do it, guess what, we'll do it for you. And that's what we have here. And the story itself, I'll be honest with you, does feel very Sonic Underground wise. It does feel very, very in line, very in tune with Sonic Underground, especially when you look at how Sonic Underground was structured. Basically every story did kind of connect in some way. Sometimes they were self-contained, but a lot of the stories did kind of connect, in continuity. And, sometimes they started out in ways that you didn't expect. That's how some of these issues went. Not issues, but episodes went. That they started in ways you wouldn't expect. And, the comic basically, lines up with that pretty much very well, because the way the comic begins is we see Sleet and Dingo trying to leave Robotropolis, because basically Sleet, he doesn't trust Robotnik. He doesn't trust Robotnik, and he basically feels that, why should we stick around, since he now has them in his possession. He's not going to need us. Why stick around and get roboticized, get betrayed by this guy and get roboticized after he's accomplished, or after he's gotten what he's wanted. And that's essentially what we start out with. Now, we do have narration by Queen Alina in this, which I think is good. I really appreciate that. And they do give her the narration more so than I think you would at the beginning of a regular episode. And the reason they do that basically is because of, the importance of this finale, of how important it is and all that. So what happens is that, like I said, Sleet and Dingo, they try to escape and everything because, Sleet doesn't trust Robotnik. And what happens is they end up getting shot down by one of Robotnik's command ships and taken prisoner for robotization. And yeah, a bit of spoilers, they end up being roboticized. They do end up being roboticized, that being Sleet and Dingo. And then afterwards we turn the page and we find out that the them that Sleet was alluding to, that Robotnik had, was of course the siblings, the Sonic Underground siblings, that being Sonic, Sonia, and Manic. And the thing is, we don't know, how he captured them or anything. How he captured them, in the first place. But the way, they're acting towards him and everything, Sonic, Sonia, and Manic, they're basically like, yeah, you think it's a big deal, you caught us and everything, but you're forgetting one person, and that's our mom. They're pretty much basically, here's the thing. You have Robotnik, he's gloating and everything at the fact that he's basically on the verge of victory, but that, he's forgetting, but they're letting him know, hey, you're forgetting one piece of the puzzle, and that's our mom. And because he feels, hey, I got you three, your mom's going to be a piece of cake, he doesn't realize how, how wrong he's going to be. He doesn't realize how wrong he's going to be. And the moment he leaves, Manic's still kind of concerned and all that. He's like, well, here's the thing, Manic, it says that Manic, he's still kind of doubtful a little bit because he's the youngest and all that out of the triplets. He's basically born last. But, he's still kind of wondering, he's still kind of doubting. Well, I wouldn't say doubting, but he's still kind of concerned whether or not, they'll get out of the situation. And, his sister and his brother have to assure him that, yeah, it's not going to be a problem. We're going to be good. We're going to be good and everything. And basically Sonia says, hey, look, I know how you feel, but we have to be confident that Mom has a plan, even if they don't know what it is. And then and as soon as Sonia says that, that's when Queen Alina appears and basically tells Manic that, his sister Sonia is right. And everything. That she's right and everything, but that she wished she would have arrived a lot sooner than what she is. So she ends up, Queen Alina does show up as predicted. She does free her kids and everything. Now, she does this by bringing a royal scepter with her. The royal scepter, which I think we've seen a couple of times in the show. And she alludes to the fact that the scepter has many powers, including teleportation, but only for the holder, but only for the person that holds it. She says she wishes she can explain more, but she doesn't have time for it, and she does need the medallions. And of course they're wondering why she needs them. Sonic's wondering why she needs them and everything. And she says she can't go into much detail since Robotnik would be surely listening in on them at that moment. And she just says not to worry, that she's gonna basically use the medallions and the scepter to be specifically prepared for what must be done. Basically she tells them that she can't go into much detail because Robotnik might be listening in, and that only to know that they're going to be especially prepared for what must be done. Basically that being the medallions and the scepters. And of course, Sonic's wondering what she means by that, and Sonia's like, look, she can't tell it. She already said she can't tell us, so they gotta trust her. And of course she ends up leaving them, saying she will be back and everything, with the promise that starting today, that moment, that nothing will keep them apart, and that she'll be back as soon as she can. Now, after that, of course, now that they're free, they come up with an idea, or at least Sonia comes up with an idea of how to, deal with the situation they're in. She basically has Manic go mess with Robotnik security so they can get out of the building. While she tries to locate anything that might help with the Mom's plan, and then she needs Sonic to, of course, play decoy and cause as much chaos as possible. And they all basically agree that if this is it, they're going to go out with a blast, basically, or on a high note. So anyway, after that, we see them initiating the plan and everything, but Manic ends up being captured. As he's initiating the plan, he ends up being captured, but we don't know who captured him. It looks like it's a swap bot, but we find out sooner or later that it's not initially a swap bot, that I think it's either a roboticized dingo or it's Robotnik himself. So again, like I said, they go initiate with the plan, and like I said, he ends up being captured, but again, we could assume it's a roboticized dingo or sleet that does that. That, again, Manic ends up being captured while Sonia and Sonic are still doing the thing. Yeah, Manic messes with the security, but then, like I said, he ends up being captured. So after that, we end up going to Mobodoon, where we see Winnie again for the first time since the show. She's surprised by Queen Alina being there, and Alina tells her, look, I need to use the Power Stone to charge my children's medallions. Winnie tries to say that basically by doing that will cause a power surge. And Alina has to say, not when I do it, and that Winnie has to trust her, because this is the moment they've been waiting for. So yeah, she tells Winnie. So basically what happens is, after Alina leaves, she teleports from the dungeon to Mobodoon, and tells Winnie she has to use the Power Stone that we saw in the Mobile Dune episode to charge the medallions, for her children's medallions for what they have planned, and that even though Winnie is concerned of a power surge, Alina's like, hey, there won't be a power surge when I do it. And the reason it won't be is because this is also the moment we've been waiting for. So, anyway, we go back to Sonic and Sonya. They're looking for Manic. They're trying to find out where Manic is. And Sonic reminds her, you have the pendant you got from the Emerald Peninsula. And Sonya says, but you can only use it safely one more time. And Sonic has to remind her, well, today's the day. Sounds like now or never. And Sonya's like, okay, you got a point there. Let me use it. And basically the emerald, and basically the pendant that she has, as we saw in one of the episodes where it debuted, allows her to see, into areas, or basically see into areas that she hasn't seen before. Or basically be able to find the person they're looking for. So she uses the emerald pendant, if you will, to find out where Manic is, and they see that Manic is about to be roboticized. He's been captured. He's about to be roboticized and everything. And basically what they do is they look and see on the monitor where the roboticizer is, where Manic's at, and they end up going into that direction until they basically meet up with you won't believe this. They meet up with Sonic's step foster parents and his Uncle Chuck and Lady Windermere, the ones that got roboticized because they were they were basically announced as traitors for taking in the siblings. And basically you have Lady Windermere and the parents and Uncle Chuck attacking them. So Sonya's like she can't fight them because especially Lady Windermere, because she took care of her. Sonic understands that and everything, but that basically they're basically right now in a no-win situation, and Sonic basically wishes they had the medallions. They could wake them up and everything, or Sonya basically says she wishes they had the medallions so they could wake them up. Sonic even says that it would make fighting the SWAT bots easier. That's when Sonic gets knocked on the head, and he turns around to see who knocked him on the head, and it's a roboticized Sleet. It's a roboticized Sleet, and he even acknowledges to Sleet when he sees him like this. It says, "Whoa, you've seen better days." So basically they're stuck in a situation to where it's like, Sonic's like, okay, Sonya, what's the plan? Sonya's like, hey, I'll let you know about the plan when I come up with it. And all of a sudden they see a big old flash, and which Sonic hopes is the cavalry, and lo and behold, it's basically the mom and everything. And Sonic's like, yeah, that works and everything. He basically says, basically Sonic's like, okay, yeah, that works. And Sonya's like, Sonya tells her mom she's got perfect timing, and asks if she brought the medallions. And Alina says yes, she did, but it's too dangerous to use them without Manic, but not to worry, since she'll take care of this. And she's got basically the scepter that's basically in the form of a mic, and she sings. She ends up singing, and the singing basically, gives back all the roboticized citizens the free will. Basically, in case you don't know, in Sonic Underground, when and we don't know when they knew about this because they just used this randomly in an episode, but they end up using the medallions to wake up one of the roboticized allies. And this is why, Sonya basically says, in the issue, they've had the medallions, they could wake them up, and Sonic's like, yeah, then it would make fighting the SWAT bots a lot easier. So Alina basically ends up waking them all up by singing, and not just temporarily but permanently. This includes Sleet. Now at first they don't think it worked on Sleet, but Sleet basically corrects them by saying, oh, but it did, and everything. And basically Sleet says, oh, but it did, and that he was just waiting his time. He's just biding his time, and by basically biding his time, he's able to take the pendant away from Sonya. He's able to snatch the pendant away from Sonya, and that he's planning to use it to get rid of the hedgehogs and then get rid of Robotnik. And Sonya has to warn him, wait, that pendant won't work again. It'll be too dangerous and all that. So, not listening to what she says, and everything, Sleet raises it up and says, oh, is it? Well, we'll just see about that. But then all of a sudden he realizes that what Sonya was telling him is right, because all of a sudden a big old vortex happens and he ends up being sucked right into the pendant. Basically, he's not necessarily killed, but he's basically trapped for eternity in the pendant. If you will, which kind of shocks Sonic and Sonya and saddens Alina a little bit, because he didn't listen. He didn't take her warning, in stride, if you will. Didn't take her warning in stride, if you will. So anyway, we go back to the room where the roboticizer is, and basically we see Robotnik gloating at the fact that he's about to roboticize Anik, and that Manic's going to join his stepfather, his foster father, as well as Dingo as roboticized servants. And it's just when it looks like he's about to roboticize Anik, that's when the cavalry arrives, and with all the characters that we'd seen throughout the series, including Knuckles. Yes, Knuckles shows up, and Manic's like, who's basically asked him, but first of all, he thanks him for the invite, and everything, but not the invite, but he thanks him for the save. But then he asks and wonders who sent the invite, and Bartleby, that's right, Bartleby, he's part of this. He says, really, Manik, who else could have gotten us all together? Basically alluding to the fact that it was the mother that got them all to come together to basically stop Robotnik, because she basically let them know that this is it. This is the moment. So what happens is Robotnik calls upon his swap bots to come aid him and all that. And we have a big old fight, if you will, between the swap bots and the Mobians, basically the citizens of Mobius that are part of the resistance. We have a big fight and everything between them, in the control room. And what happens next is very surprising, because you think how far reaching is the effects of Alina's singing, of Queen Alina's singing, that caused everybody to be freed of the enslavement to robotization, right? So what happens is that Robotnik is telling or roboticized Dingo to get in there and do something. Basically get into the fight and do something. He even insults him, saying that even as a mutant, you can't even be roboticized right. Calling him an idiot, acknowledging why Sleet hated him so much, and everything, saying he has no use for a slave that won't fight even when he tells him to fight. And then all of a sudden, Dingo grabs him, as he's still insulting him, even saying to the point that maybe if I tell you to self-destruct, you can at least die. And then that's when Dingo, grabs him like this, and he tells him to shut it. He basically picks him up and he tells Robotnik to shut it, thus indicating that again the far reaching of Alina singing has caused any roboticized Mobian, within that diameter, within that area, to be freed of Robotnik's control. So what happens is but Dingo then tosses. Not only does he tell Robotnik to shut it, he then tosses Robotnik into the roboticizer and roboticizes him. That's right, he roboticizes him as soon as Sonya, Alina, Sonic, and their roboticized families show back up, or show up in the control room, to aid them. Sonya then sees Knuckles, asking him if he's okay and asking about the floating island. Sonic, of course, when they show up, is like, holy baloney or something like that, because he can't believe what he's seen. But yeah, Robotnik ends up getting roboticized. So anyway, Sonya asks about the floating island. Knuckles says it's grounded for now, but it's worth it for what's about to happen. And Sonya's wondering what he means, and then that's when Alina basically asks for Manic to come quickly to her and everything. And then she goes on to explain that since Robotnik's coup so long ago, that she had scoured the planet of Mobius to find the 7 Chaos Emeralds. That's right, we actually get to see the underground equivalent of the Chaos Emeralds. And that she tells them it will give them powers to work miracles, and that she knows they can do it. Basically she knows she can do this, you do, and that they do too, that they know they can do this as well. And what happens is we end up getting basically supersonic versions of Sonic, Sonya, and Manic. And Sonya has turquoise skin now with white hair. We have Sonic, of course, in the supersonic mode, and Manic is all purple, kind of magenta purple, if you will, thanks to the emeralds. And they end up basically singing the theme song, of the show. They end up singing the theme song of the show, while we get a visual aid of everything being restored, everything being changed back, to what it was. We see all the SWAT bots being destroyed. We're seeing all the roboticized citizens, being de-roboticized and also being free. Well, first of all, being freed of the enslavement, and then being de-roboticized. They're all cheering and everything because once again, first of all, they got the free will back, but now they're also being, like I say, de-roboticized. As we speak. We're seeing the effects and everything of what's going on. And after it's all said and done, the siblings, Sonic, Sonya, and Manic, return to normal and everything. And they meet up with, the Oracle of Delphius. Manic's asking if it's over. The Oracle then says that nothing is truly over, that there's still much work to do, but that yes, the prophecy has come true, and he tells them, well done. And it concludes with the last verse of the theme song and everything. They vowed their mother will be found. Then we get to the Oracle, who's basically giving us an epilogue of what's going on. It says the Sonic Underground, from this point, things went as much as we would expect. That everything foretold long ago came to be, that the Queen and her kids became the Council of Four, reclaiming the kingdom and restoring proper order, and all who were roboticized would return to normal, including the foster families of Sonic, Sonya, and Manic, who all embraced their foster parents, and that he acknowledges families and people torn apart by Robotnik were once again made whole. And everything. He acknowledges that he acknowledges that things are back to normal, that peace has been restored, life returned to normal, although he doesn't know for how long, though they can say, that it's been restored. He acknowledges that the atrocity was, the astrocity, the the atrocities was restructured with those that had been loyal to Robotnik stripped of their noble being, though promised with hard work ethic, they could still be accepted into society. We didn't see we then see a roboticized Robotnik and Dingo basically serving dingo dogs, or their equivalent of chili dogs, to the citizens, with the Oracle acknowledging that even Robotnik and his minions are making up for the past mistakes. Perhaps even they will have a place and role in society. Then we see that Sleet, of course, is trapped in the medallion. Dingo basically telling him, hey, look, if you help sell chili dogs, he'll let them out. They'll be partners. And, Sleet's like, never, basically says, no, I don't want to do that. And Dingo's like, okay, suit yourself, whatever. So basically, Sleet's still alive. He's just trapped for eternity in the medallion unless, he agrees to change his ways or something like that. And then it closes with them performing and everything. And the Oracle saying that this ends our tale, though perhaps not the end, but yes, clearly a beginning, for there are many more adventures to follow, but those adventures will be with the royal family, complete together and not separate. So yeah, overall, the Archie Sonic Online continuation or conclusion for Sonic Underground, I think, is very well done. I was just checking something there. Is very well done. Like I said, you could tell that they took a lot of they took some of the ideas that Ian Flynn originally wanted to do, was his take on what the Sonic Underground finale was going to be in Sonic Universe, and applied and hybrided it, I should say, with some of their ideas of how they felt things can go. I mean, obviously, I don't think Ian Flynn, I should say, had any plans to use the 7 Chaos Emeralds, or at least the underground equivalent of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, to help Sonic, Sonia, and Manic restore everything back to normal. I don't think he had plans for that. I think that was totally on the end of the writers, like Gentleman X and all that. I think that was totally on their end of ideas that they wanted to utilize. Because when you think about it, if you're going to update 8, because I think what they were looking at is if you were going to update Sonic Underground, or at least give it a more updated finale that stays in tone with the original series, that one of the things you need to bring in as far as an updated, finale, as an update to the series, even staying true to its roots, is you have to bring in the 7 Chaos Emeralds, which would allow them to be all go super. And I think they did a great job at that. But yeah, overall the story's really good. Again, it does definitely have a Sonic Underground feel to it, but you could tell it's, like I said, it's a hybrid of ideas of what Ian wanted to do and what the fans behind it wanted to bring to the table. But it still has that authentic Sonic Underground feel. It really does. And the songs, and the fact that we get Queen Alina singing, basically her singing, basically allowing everybody to get their free will back to them permanently, not temporarily, I thought was good. And then, of course, seeing the siblings going super and everything. Overall, I think they did a decent job here. Would we have gotten something? Would we have gotten something similar with Ian Flynn's take had he been able to do it? It's hard to say, but I think so far what we got here is pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a decent way to close out the finale, at least the initial run. But like they have the Oracle of Delphius acknowledge at the end, especially on the last page, that basically many more adventures could be coming. So not only does it close the chapter on the initial run of Sonic Underground, but it leaves the door open for expanded new adventures for Sonic Underground. Now that you're going to be able to include Queen Alina into the mix as well. But overall, I thought it was a good conclusion to at least this version of Sonic Underground, to the original 1999 to 2000 version of Sonic Underground. I thought it was a good conclusion. Definitely, like I said, has the same feel and dynamics of this series. It's a nice homage and tribute to it, and that's all I can really say. So I suggest checking it out. I'll provide a link down below, in the comment section, as well as in the annotations, as well as at the end of the video as well. Well, mostly in the annotations in the comment section, but also at the end of the video, hopefully. And let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, check out the Teespring store. Also check me out at BW Rosa's discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations, except for Pandora. As well as check me out at BW Rosa's on VENMO for content you can't get anywhere else. As well as check me out at patreon.com/BW Rosas to donate there at the $1 or $3 tiers. Also check me out at Venmo if you want to help donate there as well. So until next time, guys, that's my review of Sonic Underground finale of Archie Sonic Online's Sonic Universe issue 50, and I'll talk to y'all later.